Welcome back to Life is Strange 2. So yeah,
Will something happen, please?
Not yet, because the game right now is on chill time, because remember, we're waiting for Karen to come back. So, to be fair, the main purpose of this bit is to get to know these people that Karen lives with. The problem is that once again, they're not going to be around for long, so it doesn't matter. Carry on, Dibs.
I can get the general idea.
Of course.
I can get the general idea. I mean, the last chapter ended with a massive blazing inferno and stuff being thrown around.
Yeah.
So I get the idea of wanting to tone things down a little bit to start off with before ramping it back up again for the finale.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm actually okay with that. Again, though, couldn't we have done that, but also developed these people more over that 7-week time?
What I would have liked is the conversation that led to, because again, it was for circumstance, but I would have just liked a brief conversation between, the boys and their mother about how they ended up here,
Yep.
It really would have helped all the more,
It wouldn't have even needed to be that long either, because we already know how they feel about, how both parties feel about each other, so...
For as much as people complain about Tarzan playing songs over crucial moments or Phil Collins' spiel, at least those songs explain what's going on. With the montage we got at the end of episode 4, it's just, Lisbeth be sad that her community is burning down, and we shook hands with Jacob, and that was it. We had no way of knowing that the boys were going to stick with their mother for this long afterwards, so...
Sure.
Yeah, here we are.
I actually don't. While it is true that there are more elegant ways of handling the songs in both Tarzan and Brother Bear, the only one that genuinely bothers me is the way they use No Way Out, where we could just have a simple moment where Kenai confesses to Ko the truth, and suddenly, instead of just that, suddenly Phil Collins, everywhere I go, I hurt someone. Yes, Phil, I get it.
Honestly, I don't even mind the songs for myself either. I'm just recalling what a lot of people complain about those songs. Me personally, I like them.
Oh, this. Okay, Jova, remember how you asked me about the whole thing about how, and I told you that I'm trying my best to make sure this doesn't go on for too long? This is one of those examples. In fact, we're about to get 2 examples. One, you can help build this particular structure by commanding Daniel's powers to build something. However, I chose not to do it because it's a boring mini game that lasts on. So if I don't, they just do it automatically, and I just move on to something else. The reason I picked that is because I don't really want to do that mini game because it takes a while. It's boring. It's not really fun. So fuck that. Same thing later.
I guess the idea is for it to build character with these people.
I can tell you that the dialogue doesn't exactly do that well at doing that. Not really. After this, Daniel is also going to suggest for us to do a treasure hunt of sorts, where he hits something somewhere in here, and he's going to give us clues of how to find it. Again, it has nothing to do with the story. It has nothing to do with the story. It's just there for the sake of, I guess, giving us some gameplay, I guess. And I refuse that as well because I just want to get on with the story.
I guess these are the moments where we're supposed to build off on the characters, but... Okay, let's imagine you're playing this for the first time. The game has kind of conditioned you not to care about characters specific to an episode.
Yeah.
Since most kind of might as well have dropped off the face of the earth.
We'll never hear anything about Lisbeth. I'm not kidding. Aside from that, after that conversation about Lisbeth at the beginning of this episode, Lisbeth will never be brought up ever again. As far as the game's concerned,
foreshadowing line.
Yeah, all that it does, Java. But as far as the game's concerned, she doesn't exist anymore.
So in that case, it's like, what's even the point of building up character with these characters if they're not going to matter in the grand scheme?
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine, Java.
What a nice little statue it is.
Is it? I mean, I'm not a specialist in art, and I get the whole interpretation thing. It's just that just looks like a pile of garbage piled on top of each other. But whatever.
I'm sure somehow an art curator will make it out that it was crafted by the gods or something.
All right, let's move on.
I mean, and you know what? Again, it's nice that we have people who are nice, but like
Again,
The gods know, Joe, but we already did the overly religious thing in the last chapter.
that's the thing. Again, it boils down to what I keep saying, Jova.
oh, that's spoiler
what's cool about it.
much, but yeah.
Yes, the character we're going to meet from the first game is David.
But he's tough to figure out.
So I guess this means that even if Arcadia Bay is destroyed, he'll survive. since I assume-
Dave. Spoilers. David always survives in the to make it into this game, regardless of what ending you get in the first game, which is kind of silly because how does he survive as sacrificing Arcadia Bay exactly?
That would mean that he is the sole survivor aside from Max and Chloe.
Okay. I guess the idea is that, remember, the last time we see David, he's in that underground shelter of Jefferson's. So I'm guessing we're supposed to assume that he stays there and as a result survives. I'm guessing that's what we're supposed to think.
Whenever that storm thing takes place.
I could get used to that scenery.
All right, so there's crops here. Basically, like you guys might have just heard, I refused the whole treasure hunt thing because I don't care.
Wait, are
Excuse
you going
me?
to talk to David
Water boy.
or not?
No. David also went shopping with Mom, so we're waiting for both of them right
Okay. So he's like a mandatory thing to talk to.
now. He is, yes.
Which makes sense, gotta show off that Life is Strange
He can
1
grow a lot of
stuff.
stuff there.
Honestly, part of me does wonder if, given... Okay, I'm guessing at the time of these episodes'
In fact-
releases, by episode 4, the game was getting ridiculed, so I wonder if including, this blatant Life is Strange 1 cameo was a way to try and,
If he wasn't such a
save
fuck-up,
base.
Probably.
he could take over the world.
Well, okay. Okay. In actuality, I'm pretty confident the idea is that they want to give some nice Easter eggs for the OG fans, because for all their problems, the creators do seem genuinely thankful for the support the first game got. So
Okay, also, a letter from Finn. How does he know where we are? And apparently it's implied that he was writing this from prison. What?
yeah.
I think he's in jail? Oh,
Okay.
never mind.
I'm stuck in San Diego. Blah blah. Blah. Give me a shot when you get to Mexico. Basically, Finn wrote us a letter. Blah 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 blah. That's the basic.
Apparently he's serving community service, but still, how did he get this letter to us? Did he keep ties with Jacob somehow? Who, keep in mind, Jacob also kind of went off the grid too?
Don't ask me. I ain't got a clue.
Speaking of which, did Sarah ever get proper medical treatment, or is that girl going to
Oh,
die?
that. No, she does. She does. In fact, we're about to read a letter from Jacob about it, if I remember correctly.
Let me guess. It turns out
Mom?
was
Mom, don't leave your bra just hanging around the trailer, please.
Sister, are you doing okay?
There you go, Jacob.
just a bra.
So there you go.
He's not used to having
Hola.
her children
Hola,
around.
Sean. Sorry I did not write to you sooner, but this was the first time I've had a chance to relax after we got to heaven. But thanks to your brother, I can still believe it really happened. So bizarre. Sarah Lee and I do miss our parents, but we're not ready to let them know that we are here. We'll figure it out later. With the money you gave me, oh yeah, I forgot. We talked over it, but all the money we got from the pot farm, I decided to give it to Jacob because Sarah needed more than we did. I could pay a month's rent in advance and for a room in a small beach on the coast. Sarah Lee loves it. She's much better now thanks to the antibiotics. We're doing great. The most important thing, blah blah blah, is to my sister. Blah, 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 blah. Just like you with your brother. Can we follow the story of Jacob and Sarah? That sounds like they'll be a more they sound like better characters.
It's like I've said, it is amazing how almost every character, aside from our main characters, feels more interesting than our main characters. It's Fate Apocrypha all over again.
Please let me know when you make it to the other side. You and Daniel got this. Because
And
remember,
again,
So cute.
well, okay. I guess to be fair, Jacob, it
Looks
actually
like
makes
Lila
sense he
has
would know
some
where we are.
competition,
it makes sense. So that's fine. Moving on. Hi, Daniel. I hope you are good and happy. I feel so much better now. I am so happy I got to see the ocean for the first time. I even tried to surf. I think I could be good at it. I wish you were here so we could go to the beach even if the water is cold. We talked over it because there was so much shit going on. But Daniel and Sarah became huge friends during the time he was there.
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised. Well, I get it. Sarah's just a kid, but I'm surprised we didn't see any of the fallout she had from realizing that her reverend mother was evil.
Mommy's home, guys.
And she brought a friend.
Well, wow, that's the first time someone said that in years.
Hey, what's up?
You survived the night in
Hey.
the desert?
Good morning.
There he is, Shiroi. David is now Paul Bunyan? Like,
Is
Oh
she
my
who-
God.
Is he who she left them for?
no. Don't worry, Joe. We're going
That would be
we're going to learn what
I was
happened.
wondering, it's like, are they dating or something?
No. They're not dating. They're just friends. Don't worry. In fact,
would
we're going to
they're
learn.
not-
We're going to learn what happened in between games with David in a moment.
What's your secret? Defying death on a daily basis.
That would be something, though, if it turns out that their mother left the kids for David.
To be fair, remember, in our Life is Strange 1 playthrough, we have that bit where
Catch you later.
it's implied that Joyce might be rethinking her relationship with David because of his paranoia and stalking people. So, to be fair, this is a plausible scenario based on what we saw in Life is Strange 1.
Stargazer. Glad
Okay,
Who's the
since
person who was wearing the headdress, anyway?
someone named Joe.
Don't worry, she's not important. Don't worry.
No, like, genuinely.
She's an artist. That's
No,
basic.
I wanted to check something, that's why.
I forgot her name.
Let me check. Joan. Yeah, I was right.
That's it, Joan.
Marcus.
Carry on.
No matter what, he.
Is it because of it looks like she might have had chemio and shit.
No, it's something else.
Okay.
Just carry on,
Okay,
it's fine.
Time you
but-
boys went camping.
Okay,
Hope Daniel didn't get scared.
since this is going off your choices from the previous
Seen a
game,
lot worse.
I'm assuming that the reason. Okay, I assume he's divorced currently from Chloe's mom.
Yes.
Too much.
Well, remember, Joe, but the
I'm
only
guessing-
choice that from the first game that affects this game is which ending did you pick? That's the only choice
Hold on.
that affects things.
True, yeah, that's right. All the other choices.
Okay,
get
well,
wiped out.
it's one of those things where I feel like it would be much better if we actually read the first game's save file to load all those
Don't
choices
try anymore.
instead of just a one.
Well,
Take it from an old
well, remember, Pedro, like you said, it wouldn't matter because
trained him well.
thanks to time travel shenanigans, either the whole town gets destroyed, so much for those choices, or you undo the events of the game by undoing Chloe's death. And
Never
since
met
that's the
someone
ending you went with, I assume that in this case, he and
Tried
Chloe's
to be
mom
friends
split up because
Not always
they
easy.
probably couldn't deal with the fallout of their daughter's death, I assume.
Yeah, and yes, the actor from the first game reprises his role as David.
Raising a kid
I'll admit,
is the
like,
toughest job
don't get
in
me
the
wrong, I wasn't one of the many people who hated David,
Combat was
even
easy.
after experiencing him in the game. I feel like he had flaws, but could be nuanced, when the game wrote him
Hold
well
on,
enough.
hold on.
You didn't tell me you had kids. How many?
None. I was a stepdad. Or, in her case, a step douche.
Oh, God.
Remember that's what
Hear Chloe's voice right through it.
remember that's what she used to call him. Yeah.
Had the chance.
It's like she's standing there
the
right
right
now
thing
saying
by
hella
stepfather.
swearing.
Before she died. We were like oil and water. And she was always...
So I'm guessing in the case
That's
where
hard for a kid
Arcadia
to
Bay
get
is
involved,
destroyed,
especially one
obviously being
I
like
just
the
had
few
no
survivors
clue
left,
how
he
to
made
deal with
nice
her.
with Chloe.
Wish I did.
Not so much. He still separates from Joyce regardless.
Well, no. I mean, I assume Joyce is dead. In
Oh
the
yeah,
Arcadia
that is
Bay
true.
destroyed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So in that case, I'm assuming he at least makes nice with Max and Chloe.
Yes,
in the way that-
it's implied. I'll talk about it at the end of this part because there's one small variation depending on the ending of one, but I will show both in a moment because fortunately there's a really good image on Google Images that I can use to explain that.
Although, funnily enough, that implies that Max and Chloe are A-okay in the wake of everyone they knew and loved getting killed aside from David. So
Remember,
that's kinda messed up.
remember, Jova. If any, based on what we've seen from the first game, Max doesn't give a rat's ass about anybody aside from Chloe. So.
Joanne is so cool.
Still, I guess it's
Stanley's
nice
so
that everybody in the
The heat is
community
so
is cool with Daniel's powers.
Yeah, everybody here is
So-
chill. Yeah, he said everybody here is chill. Yeah.
Just be you and I know. I'm just-
All right, so now we're going
Again,
to get
I
that.
Don't
think
get too
Go
I
on.
think
This is
I think an interesting scene would have been, Daniel accidentally shows his powers, but the community is okay with it. They don't deify him. They don't mistreat him. They don't act scared of him.
Well,
They're
Jova.
just fine with him.
And Jova. Now, what's the difference between them and most of the other people we've met? They're complete free spirits who live on their own with zero authority. Meaning they're the best people of the world, according to this game's agenda. So, yeah.
You know, honestly, looking back at Lisbeth's motivations, her motivations and the way she goes about doing stuff are really dumb. And I don't just mean, well, obviously she's a nut dumb. I mean, honestly, think about it. The idea with her is that she's a charismatic leader that has swayed people to her call. But when you actually analyze her methodology, it does not make any sense. Like, I checked on the Wikia, and yeah, even Life is Strange fans pretty much point out how she is essentially a mustache-twirling villain with, like, little to no charisma. At most, you have her showing that Daniel might be the second coming of Christ, but even still, one has to wonder, how did she sway so much people beforehand? Like, we see some pictures of her getting well and good with the kids back then, but why? How? It just is. Shut up.
Yeah, basically. So, and this is the primary conversation we're going to, one of the primary conversations we're going to have with Mommy here. Right now we're talking about how nice and peaceful this community is and blah blah blah.
Privileged out here. There's bad shit going on in this desert.
Oh.
I don't think you can ever really get away from everything.
Basically, the cops are still after us for what we didn't even point. Even Karen herself is now a wanted fugitive because people apparently there were people probably Lisbeth reported her to the authorities most likely.
Which, again, if that is something to go by, yeah, Karen apparently was the one who set fire to stuff. It was either well, okay, even if we don't blame, like, the room we were in burning on her and we blame that on the candles, Karen did still send that other building up in flames, so, yeah, arson.
Her name is still written all over this
And the
place.
thing is, a lot of these problems could probably really just be solved if they went to the police. And I get it, they're supposed to be scared that they'll get tried for the murder of the police cop and whatnot, but again, I'm just gonna laugh if the plot twist turns out to be that, no, the police weren't racist after all, and this whole thing could have been avoided if we had just talked to them.
Just the three of us.
So basically, Mommy wants to talk with Daniel, just the three of us.
You know, every time I hear something about, every time I hear the main critique of a plot being this whole thing could have been avoided if we just talked about it, I could just imagine the writers trying to defend themselves by saying, but I thought people keep saying that talking scenes are boring.
No, they're not. You just have to write good dialogue that makes them entertaining, like Quentin Tarantino does.
You in?
Or Martin Scorsese movies.
Let's fact then.
The solution to that, writers, is write good dialogue. See how easy that was to come up with?
Like, look, if you want to make it so that stuff could have easily been avoided, but the plot needed to happen, that's fair and fine, but, you know, usually that's only assuaged by if the plot's actually good and fun enough. But it's not.
Yeah,
good and fun
basically.
enough.
So basically, right now, Mommy and Mommy's gonna take us to lift up some lanterns in the sky, Tangled style.
Should have camped near that little creek.
Because this is going to be our last night here. So Mommy prepared something special, basically. So Shiroi, I'm curious.
And the car's just half a mile down the path.
This place
Yeah.
So what exactly was it that was bugging you about Joanne?
I'm beat.
I needed to check something just about the character appearance, and
Ah,
I didn't come
okay.
up with anything. It's fine.
Come on, Daniel. Give me your hand.
See, and here's the other thing as well. Might as well talk about this while we're talking about boring characters. When we put the whole thing of her being a shit mom aside that we've already ranted enough about on at this point, Karen is yet again another character who is also incredibly uninteresting, like in terms of her personality. She has no personality in these two episodes aside from just being, I guess the game wants us... well, okay, yeah, she is terrible in that aspect of it, yes. But outside of that aspect of her being a deadbeat, there's nothing to her either. Like her overall characterization feels very generic mom-ish.
If I may, Karen's inclusion feels like it's just a box mark being checked. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we foreshadowed the mother, so we gotta have her show up. Like, I mean, honestly, I feel like, you know, you could have probably have had episode 4 happen with or without her. My take on what the writers were trying to go for was essentially the love of a mother versus the love of a fake mother, in which case the Reverend Mother. Again, ignoring the fact that as far as we know, Lisbeth had been treating Daniel better than their actual mother, so yeah, again, we get it. Mustache twirling villain, but it really doesn't help when the supposed hero you're pitting her up against did just as bad, if not worse things, specifically to Daniel.
They make art, so they stop.
Exactly.
You're way more like me.
And yes, don't get me wrong, I get it. Lisbeth is the villain, but my god, like I said, she's more entertaining than these characters. If anything, it's hard for me to root for the heroes.
See, the reason it's hard to root for these characters because I don't care. I find these characters so boring and uninteresting. I have no attachment to these people because.
Like, let me put it like this: if the mother just for some reason died, wouldn't care. Despite the fact that she is clearly supposed to be an important character, I would not care. That is how little the story has actually properly developed her.
I love to get away from
Responsibilities, duties.
I bet.
It's the
And the
best.
thing is, I get it, 7 weeks passed, but I don't think you should leave it completely up to our imagination as to why they're suddenly on better terms. Like, okay, with Daniel, he may have been too young to get why her leaving was messed up, and the story does say that Daniel does love his mother still, and, you know, is happy to have her back.
Oh, here you go.
Which,
Now you can ask, got to know you better, you helped us a lot, or regret leaving you.
It's good to get to know you better. See your life.
This place is pretty cool. It's like
You can. It's like,
oh my god!
yeah, I wish I was watching
Hey,
Fury Road
no,
right
That's
now.
like Fury Road, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like Fury Road, except not because Fury Road is actually entertaining. So.
I believe you two are actually out here with me.
Yes,
I mean, I wouldn't object if the game suddenly turned into a crazy adventure where
I'm proud for you.
giant, larger-than-life villains kidnap the heroes and take them on a wild ride chasing down escapees.
honestly, yeah, just bring in all the
Look at
bad
this.
villains.
Now you get the
Daryl
option to tell to ask her to come with us to Mexico. Let's see what she answers.
If you wanted to, you could come with us
Nah, I'm gonna leave you again.
to Mexico.
That would be cool.
I would
Yeah.
love to come see you settled into a new home.
But
You're almost there.
But
I am a wizard.
I have
There's
to
the
be
but.
upfront with both of you.
Am I a wizard or
Happened in
what?
Haven Point is catching up on us.
She actually has a plan for what she wants to do when they go to Mexico, as you're going to hear later.
We saw some stories in the papers. The feds are definitely tracking us down in the region.
oh snap, the FBI are onto them now.
Well, considering everything they've done criminally up until this point, I'm not that surprised.
Figures.
I guess so.
I mean, remember, Joe, but they burned down not one, but 2 fucking buildings in Haven Point. So...
Yeah, like arson is a serious
This
crime.
is it?
I mean, at least one of those buildings deserved it because it was housing a
Leave tomorrow.
bloody dangerous cult.
Although keep in mind, Wibbs, if there were innocent people in there, the ends would not justify the means.
Well, we know
But-
there weren't, so...
But consider
Well,
this.
okay.
Arson.
To be fair,
That's why I
Sarah was a part of the cult. She was
I
innocent.
made
So, like,
Not-
you know,
yeah.
July.
the only people we blatantly knew were evil were Nicholas and Lisbeth.
Not
For
to
all we
men-
knew, the other people were just brainwashed.
Not to mention there's 2 wrongs don't make a right.
So, okay, so if I understand correctly, the mother
Clearly, you
feels
haven't seen
that,
my Red Faction playthrough in a while, Pedro.
and we critiqued you on that, but okay, so if I understand correctly, the mother's logic is, You go on ahead. I'll come after you after the heat dies down.
And at last I see the light, and it's
Pedro?
like the sky has lifted. Yes?
Okay, now we've got two Jovers. One people
Go on.
randomly burst into song.
I was just making a joke. Go on.
But yeah, no, if I understand correctly, the mother's logic is the heat's on us too much, so I'll come down with you to Mexico after I've shook them off.
Basically, remember, she's also wanted now. So basically, she's gonna try to get herself captured to see if she can buy them time.
Wow, how noble of her.
Yeah, that's the thing. See, that's the thing that they do. Since the writers didn't bother writing the story that has happened up until this point in these 7 weeks, they have to have her do something kind of noble sacrifice to get you to like her. So
This would be good if there was actually build up to it, I think.
Yep.
Regardless of how awful of a mother she actually was.
Yeah, like, it could have been an interesting look at the player getting to decide if they really forgive her or not. The problem is that apparently the brothers are at the point of forgiving her, as the dialogue seems to suggest. Like, what else am I supposed to take from the fact that Sean is acting amicable with the woman who made his life kind of crap by walking out on him now?
Exactly. I don't necessarily see if they actually bother to show us those 7 weeks where they give Karen some kind of redemption positive arc. That could have been fine, but that's not really what they do. They jump immediately to set payoff instead of actually doing all the necessary legwork. But
let me also ask a question. Did you
go on? Go on.
Did this game really need to be only 5 episodes? We could have had an extra episode that was literally focused on those 7 weeks in here. Have it maybe be a bit montagey and whatnot, but why did they need to limit themselves to 5 episodes with this?
Well, Jova, considering the dwindling sales of the game, I seriously doubt Square Enix would be too ecstatic to greenlight a 6th one.
That is fair enough. Like, I guess that the original pitch was 5 episodes, and by the time of this episode, obviously sales were dwindling. Yeah, but it's like, why did they plan for it to only have 5 episodes if those 5 episodes were going to be this sparse? And yeah, to be fair, Pedro has not looked or found every detail.
I shouldn't have to, though.
Like even yeah, that's the thing. I feel like even the main narrative itself should be enough. Like, it might be cheating because Ace Attorney is more text-based, but there is optional dialogue and extra details you can get in Ace Attorney. But the narrative remembers, hey, the main stuff that is required to be seen.
Oh, there you go.
That is stuff that needs to be.
What's your plan?
And now pay attention to this, Shirai. Remember how I could ask earlier, oh, you can come with us or not? Like, so the game is already giving me some choices about how friendly Sean is to her. Now we're about to get the ultimate one. Well, not the ultimate one. Like, there's technically one more after this, but yeah, one of the big ones. So we can thank her or say you don't have to.
Thank you.
Sure, it would be funny if we don't end up going to Puerto Lobos after all.
I knew what I was doing when I came to Haven Point looking for your brother.
Now, from what I understand, you have to kill people to get to Puerto Lobos.
For once in my life, I figured maybe I could do something good for someone.
Like, I mean, I know it took you losing an eye and your brother getting inducted into a cult, but I stepped up, didn't I? I did good. Right.
Basically, you can choose to either say you don't have to, which is the negative choice, or say thank you, which is the forgiving choice, Shirai. That's basically how it is.
Yeah. I will
It's
say
not a
this.
forgiving choice.
Well, Shirai, the game thinks it is, so what can I tell you?
I wouldn't even mind it particularly, but again,
I don't know.
we needed to see the development of how we got to this
Yeah,
point.
we did. Like, look at Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Wait. Your dad was a rebel? That is news to me. He seemed pretty authoritarian given how he constantly disciplined.
Well, okay, to be fair, in the first episode before shit hit the fan, he did say that when he was Sean's age, he also liked to party and stuff like that. So the dad himself kind of implied that he also did stuff.
Okay.
No, like kind of
Me, I forgot about that detail from 4 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Right?
And keep in mind, this is with us even playing these episodes back to back.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird. For as much recapping as the story gives, there are certain details that are just easy to forget with how unmemorable the game is.
To be fair, there's only so much they can tell in a recap.
Oh, I know that, but what I mean is, story details and plot points don't always stick with me because I'm just not invested with this game. And it's not a case that I never cared about it from
Hold on,
the
Jova.
get-go.
You can also choose to write Karen a thank you letter, but I'm not going to do that.
No. Sorry.
See, I knew from the get-go when I first started recording this game that Shira was gonna hate this character. Immediately, I knew. See, you see, Shira, I've known you so much at this point, Shira, that I can immediately tell whether you're gonna like something or dislike something at this point.
Like, you can make shitty parents compelling, as I mentioned a couple of parts ago or something,
Karen said
but
you wanted to see me.
the story doesn't
Go grab that police scanner
provide enough
outside.
context for everything
I
for
gotta
me
put
to
these new
actually,
plates on the car.
be on board with it.
Come on.
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at that. David, who used to be an authoritarian, is now helping us dodge the cops.
Well,
irony.
Jova, he's supposed to be a good guy, so obviously we can't have him have any kind of authority, can we?
Does this thing work?
Okay, so the police frequency basically give us a thing so we can listen to the police frequency so to make sure we can escape to where they are. So according to that note, the police frequency is in between 140 and 160. So basically, we're supposed to just search for it. Yeah. Look at it with Zuko, for example. Zuko from
So we're copying Metal Gear.
kinda, yeah. Look at it with Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender, the TV series, not the shitty movie. Like that character, Zuko starts out as a despicable character in every facet. Like we see him treat both his uncle and his crew horribly. We even see him at points even do flat out despicable things like stealing from people who have helped him.
Definitely not.
You know, so Zuko does plenty of horrible, despicable things, and that's because, but however, by the time we get to season 3, he's a completely different person because, as Iroh says, as Iroh says, in season 2.
Hero, I believe that's how
Yeah,
the movie
I know.
pronounces it.
Sorry about that. Iroh.
That's your language, Pedro.
I know. As Iroh says in the second season, he goes through a metamorphosis, as in change, as in character arc, and after realizing that his methods are wrong, he becomes a completely different person. The thing is, we need gradual development, we need strong writing to make this happen, and because the game did jack shit to try to make us come around towards this woman, any possible nice little but don't you see Shiroi, she's going to sacrifice herself so that they can get away, she's going to give herself to the police to buy them time, see? She's good.
If I were writing that and I felt like a massive dick, I could have had it so that after all of his character development and after everything that he's been through, at the end of the series he was suddenly killed by that family who he stole that horse from as an act of revenge.
Alright, so as you can see there, a letter to Joyce. And look at that, see?
Must be his ex-wife.
Ah!
Yeah.
With the moral of the story being
Since I chose to sacrifice Chloe, that's the picture you get.
Anyway, I'm glad you brought up Zuko. Zuko's one of my very interesting and favorite character developments.
He's my favorite character in that franchise.
Like, the thing is, even at his worst, we do get signs that there is a decent human being within him. We legit get his backstory in the first season that the reason he's been exiled is because he dared to show compassion to the common man, which, equaled out to disrespect in the war room.
They do that.
And even
they do that because they want to hint that this character is not completely irredeemable, so they want to plant the seeds for his development.
Hell, Iroh being there the entire time for his development, further proves that, because despite how Zuko treats him, he's nothing but kind to him because he's seen him, he's seen him as a kid in those moments where he was not like this.
And keep in mind, there are also ample moments where Zuko could go after Aang and company, but chooses to either save his uncle or his crew in that regard. We do also see hints, especially by Book 2, where, yeah, his sister becomes a part of the main cast, and we see, gee, as bad as Zuko was, he didn't do nearly half the villainous crap his little sister does.
Like, oh, she's crazy.
Like, I love
the
how
reason for
Zuko
that-
says to his uncle, look, uncle, I know you want us to get along, and I was like, no, she's crazy and she needs to go down.
It's because all of that shit is there to explain how Zuko got this way. Like,
And I know that some people don't like it. I actually do think it was a bold move that despite his development, he does give into weakness at the end of Book 2 and ends up helping Azula to get his honor back. Because the reason I'm okay with this is that we get amazing development in Book 3 where essentially he and Aang are now on opposite sides of the spectrum, where Zuko is the conquering hero and Aang's the one talking about getting his honor back for how much he failed.
Not to mention,
And it's just
remember,
getting to see
Zuko's original motivation for everything he was doing was to regain his honor.
And he did by Book 3.
And by the end, that's why he helps Azula in the ending of Book 2, because he sees that as a way to recover his honor, and he does. Like, thing is, after recovering his honor, he's realized, but what did I lose to achieve this, though? I betrayed my uncle. I've now allied myself with my sister that I hate. At what cost? Yes, I recovered my honor, but at what cost?
About your stepdaughter?
His eye?
And it's...
Yeah.
Well, to be fair,
That was the dad. That was the dad that did that.
I mean, it did cost him something.
Well, to be fair, Zuko still had his eye just heavily scarred.
Oh, there you go.
Essentially.
Once I lost her.
Everything became clear.
What?
Selfish.
Basically, after losing Chloe, he's finally realized how stupid and selfish he was, and he made an effort to become a better person. Again, this was hinted at the end of the first game, so this makes sense.
Crystal clear now.
I like to imagine that in the alternate version, he's like,
not gonna fuck
everyone
this up.
dying around me just gave me an epiphany that I needed to get right with Jesus. So here I am out here.
I mean, it's a nice enough cameo, I guess, but I don't know. It's just one of those cases.
So basically, the really bossy guard from the first game has now decided to take on the Joel look with ponytail.
Sure.
Okay. So if I recall correctly, for as much as Life is Strange was like, David was one of the base-breaking characters, so my guess is that this is the writers trying to get people to go, look guys, he's changed now to realize his flaws. Even though, again, I still argue I don't think David was that bad. He was actually one of the more nuanced characters, just not executed the best.
So it told us, look, you can try to, like he's saying what Sean should have done from the beginning of the game, which is try to face the consequences of it and actually explain things to the police. Problem is, as we now know, we're too far deep into this, and like we've said, the cops are fucking trialing us even for the death of a cop that we definitely did not make, and they have no reason to think we did. So
once again, like I said, doesn't even make sense in the context of the plot itself, because we knew the police just wanted to talk to them in like the first episode. So what the hell?
The writers want to force conflict, and they will do it at all costs. No.
You know, that is honestly the problem with a lot of the episodes. Like, it feels like conflict just comes up conveniently to end up
here you go.
pushing them from one location.
A phone call from Joyce, and we can actually listen to it if we stay right next to the trailer, which I will.
Alright. But yeah, like, the conflict
You're
is
charging how
awfully-
much for a pizza delivery?
So I guess he and Joyce are still somewhat in a good relationship, even if they are divorced.
Don't worry. I'm mostly working, and the sun's going down. You got that right.
So, there you go, guys. This is definitely in the Life is Strange universe. Doesn't that make you feel so accomplished?
Well, we knew that much earlier on when we saw Arcadia Bay.
Okay, I'll argue this is at least more substantial than just, oh look, there's Arcadia Bay. Let's not even mention it in the script. Just
It's
look
there.
over there, or you'll miss it. Like
This
at
tree
least
you
have.
didn't destroy in the distance.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you do let it get destroyed, you won't even see that. Like unless there's like a plaque or something that is like dedicated to the lives lost in it, which as Pedro alluded to, there's apparently not.
Go ahead, Shiri.
If you chose to sacrifice Arcadia Bay, would this character actually show up?
Yes.
Oh, so he didn't die. Okay.
Well, we explain. My theory, Shiri, is that remember at the end of the first game, he was in that underground bunker by Jefferson. So I guess we're supposed to assume he stayed there, and as a result, didn't get hit by the storm.
Yeah.
So that is plausible. So that's fine by me. Anyway, before we go,
I just
everybody.
wanted to ask to be sure.
Sure. Anyway, everybody, before we go, I want to show you this image that I'm showing up on screen right now, just to show a variation. If you choose to sacrifice Arcadia Bay, instead of that screenshot we saw, instead you have a screenshot of an older Max and an older Chloe who has changed her hair to green and even allowed it to grow. So there you go. Max and Chloe. An older Max and Chloe.
Chloe is starting to go back to the brown hair look, but as green instead of blue. What do you think, Shiroi?
That's all right, I guess. It's just a little
And
Easter egg. I think it's harmless, despite my feelings on the first game.
Fun fact, at the time of this recording, there are rumors regarding Life is Strange 4, and apparently the rumor that's strongest right now is that we might be getting a Life is Strange 4 that is an actual direct sequel to the first game starring Max and Chloe, because it seems like they really want to really try to please the OG fans, like at all costs.
I do have to wonder then, would this have a lock on with the first game, given how, the two endings, one of them literally
considering
dead.
Considering the most recent release of the franchise is the remastered collection, with the first game and the prequel, and that remaster and those remasters were done by Deck 9 themselves. So if Deck 9 is developing Life is Strange 4, it would be very easy for them to read the save file from the remastered collection and just go from there.
I'm very conflicted on the idea. Like, on the one hand, it seems like they got something good going with True Colors. It's just, again, Life is Strange 1 is not as beloved as it used to be. Like, I do wonder if it's the best idea to make a direct sequel to that. Like, what more even is there to do with those two?
See, the thing is,
one in the case that you choose to sacrifice Chloe.
See, the thing is, Jova, even though people like you and me enjoy True Colors, the OG Life is Strange 1 fans, while it does have its fans and everything, I'm not saying all of the OG fans dislike True Colors. There's also quite a good portion, it's basically a 50-50 ratio. There's quite a lot of OG Life is Strange fans who still don't care much for True Colors because they think it played it too safe, or because they thought that, like for example, there's Rybread in particular. He prefers he prefers a character like Chloe over someone like the characters in True Colors because he finds characters that are way too nice and pure to be boring. So I get the feeling they really want to try their best to, okay, fine, let's do what we want. Let's literally make a direct sequel to the original game and have Max and Chloe be the protagonists. The thing is, if Raul and Michelle are not the ones making it, I seriously doubt that they will be able to please the purest OG fans as much as they want. But I'm not really. So again, it should be interesting to see what Life is Strange 4 is going to be like if those rumors are true. But yeah, what do you think, Shiroi? Like, do you think? Do you like? Are you interested to see how would a direct sequel to the first game would turn out?
Kinda. Well, like it's not something I'm gonna play either way. So it's kind of no skin off my nose. But I don't know. We'll see if that is true.
Dwibs, what do you think?
It's a chapter so far. Things are happening in it.
No. I mean my thing about Life is Strange. The Life is Strange rumors going on right now.
I don't take much stock in rumors.
Okay. Joe already said his piece. I am interested in seeing what happens, just so I can see what kind of crazy shenanigans can happen from that. So,
Like, here's what I ask. Are they actually going to dedicate themselves to making two vastly different scripts? Because, again, I assume one would be with Max and Chloe alive, and the other would be with only Max, because Chloe is dead if it's really going to be a direct sequel, and they're committing to the whole, what was your choice thing.
Maybe they're just gonna say fuck it and just say this takes place after the Sacrifice Arcadia Bay ending. Because the fan made there's a fan game that's kind of a sequel thingy that does take place after the Arcadia Bay ending. Like, so I can see them trying to go that route too.
I guess to me that would kind of defeat the purpose of these choices then.
Well, Jova, when that's kind of what this franchise likes to do. What's one more at this point?
Well, okay, I assume True Colors probably doesn't have any lock on, does it?
No, Life is Strange. Well, Life is Strange. When you first start Life is Strange 2 Colors, specifically the DLC, the Steph DLC, it asks you once again, did you play Life is Strange 1? Yes or no? And if you say yes, it asks you, what did you choose at the end?
Wait. Oh, so even True Colors respects the events of that?
True Colors has some fan service for OG fans, yes, as well as for Before the Storm, because remember that's the game they made before True Colors. So
You know, it wouldn't be the first time that a game that has had multiple endings picks a particular one that the writers would consider canon, or like the one they generally prefer, and make a sequel based on that. So if they do pick an end, it would be interesting if there were two different scripts, because honestly they could do that, because these games are pretty short.
yeah.
But if they were to pick a specific ending, I don't think that would be inherently a bad thing.
Sure.
It's more down to, okay, how are they going to write this? Because I do not like Chloe, so that's not a good start.
Yeah, admittedly, that's part of my kind of annoyance if they go with one particular ending, because of course it's probably going to be the ending where Max sacrifices an entire town that, keep in mind, definitely does have decent people in it, for a pretty terrible human being.
The entire city of Tokyo flooded.
You have to understand. You have to understand. Wearing with you hurt Shiroi. It wounded her deeply.
No, sorry. I'll never let that ending go. I'm sorry. I will be.
That movie, like it's one of those cases where someone would ask her, "God damn it, woman, did that movie kill your cat or something?" And she would go, "Yes."
Might as well have.
Yes, it did.
It probably did kill some cats in Tokyo at that point.
Exactly.
All right, we'll see if
Tune in next time, everybody, when we finish the game.
See ya.
See ya.